afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Ingram Jones and welcome to Bayloric Worldwide Television. I have with me a returnee for 2016, Shawon Watson, the setback strategist. He's back in the house. Welcome back, Shawon.
Thank you for having me. I always enjoy talking with you and networking with you and doing these interviews. So thank you for giving me an opportunity.
Opportunity, man. It's just an honor to have you on the show. So let's talk about obviously 2016. Last time we spoke was 2015. You're still looking good, man. You're still looking good. Still got the big smile. You're still flying.
Thank you. Like I said, God is good. You know, God is good. So why not smile? You know, I'm very blessed. You know, I'm very blessed.
That's the one, brother. That's the one. So let's talk about 2016. You know, people make New Year's resolutions. They talk about, you know, moving forward. So tell us a little bit more about, the setback strategist and the resolutions for 2016 and how we can change our mindsets for 2016.
Well, as everyone knows who follow me on social media, I'm a motivational speaker, published author. I published a book about 3 years ago, and I also do a lot of sales projects. I'm also a sales expert when it comes to what companies call cold calling, making telephone sales calls, and doing all those types of things like that. I'm really good at talking to companies and going to companies and showing them how to close more sales over the phone. So really, my whole focus when I'm talking to individuals or entrepreneurs or companies is to help people to reach their full potential, because we have so many people out there that are not reaching their potential, that are not making the effort to reach their potential. And one of the things that I was saying the other day is that, you know, when it comes to trying to reach your full potential, it's all about effort. And a lot of people are just settling because they don't want to put the extra effort. They don't want to go above and beyond. And I like to call settling internal prison, because you are putting limitations on yourself that God has never put. God didn't create us with limitations. He created us unlimited. So that means we can do all things.
So how do we acknowledge the fact that we've got to admit that we have limitations, or we've put self limitations on? How do we admit, or what are the symptoms of the limitations first? What are symptoms of a limited person, or with limited self-beliefs?
Well, it's really their mindset. I mean, you have a lot of people out there who refuse to change some of the things they were doing last year. You have a lot of people who are still doing the same things. They're still running that business the same way, and it's that insanity thing. If you keep on doing something the same way every time, you're going to keep getting the same results. So 2016 is about coming in with a different mindset, coming in with a game plan, but also too, you have to start admitting when you have a problem. And I see a lot of people allowing pride to get in the way of your success. And I've had to learn that throughout everything, is that, you know, there was a time where I could not allow my pride to keep getting in the way. If I have a question or I have a problem, I have to admit it. First of all, I have to admit it to myself. And once I admit that problem to myself, then I go out there and I seek help. So if I'm struggling with, let's say sales, let's say I'm struggling with sales. If I was an entrepreneur out there struggling with sales, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna admit that, hey, I'm a good entrepreneur, but my weakness is sales. So next, once I admit it to myself, I'm going to immediately go out there and start finding resources, start getting on LinkedIn, start getting on Facebook, and find out a person who's really good at sales and see if I can get about 30 minutes of their time to pick their brain on how I can get better and feel more comfortable with selling. So it's the mindset.
So that's how you've done it your way. I mean, for example, there are many people across Facebook that I know that are suffering in silence, but they won't speak out because of this fear of, oh, I'm exposing myself to something, or I'm letting all my business out in public. But the thing is, by us sharing our fears, that's how we also can grow.
But you know what? That fear that fear or that problem that you are afraid to admit out there to the world. See, it's all about relationship building and connections. Just imagine you're a person out there and you have a certain problem, like you said, and you have a fear of letting that person know. But just imagine one day you feel the courage to put that out on Facebook. You post it. I have a fear of heights. Okay? And say you put that on Facebook. But then let's say a few minutes later, somebody reads that post and say, you know what, I am too. So now what you've done, you build another relationship. So now you guys can be able to come together, because this whole thing is all about building relationships. It's all about finding connections. You know, what kind of similarities do we have that are the same, and then how are we different? So it's not a bad thing to admit that you have a problem, or that there's a fear out there. The key is just, like I said, getting over it, getting over that fear of wondering and being concerned about what other people are going to think about you. That's the biggest thing you got to worry about, because here's the thing: people are going to talk about you whether you're doing great, and people are going to talk about you whether you're doing not so great. So either way, they're going to talk about you. But I learned a long time ago, if people are talking about you, you're doing something great. So I would say that for that person, don't worry about what people are going to say about you. You know, everyone has a weakness. Everyone has a fear. Everyone has some sort of hindrance that may be getting in the way of, you know, the process or some of the things that they're trying to accomplish. And I just want to encourage that person who may be listening to this later. You know, step out of that fear, and again, don't allow your pride to get in the way of your success, because what you are in fear of, what you do not know, there's someone else out there that does know, that can help you, but you'll never be able to get that help if you don't put yourself out there and seek the help. I listened to one of my favorite motivational speakers, Eric Thomas, which they call ET, and one of the things that I learned from him is saying that, you know, one of the things that stop people from greatness is lack of knowledge. You know, so we have to keep learning. You know, you can't you know, be one of those type of people that feel like you know everything, and that there's nothing that nobody can teach you. So put your fears out there. You just never know. You never know who you can connect with. You just never know. You never know what kind of relationship you can build.
Let me throw this back at you. You know, you said earlier on about linking with somebody who has the same fear as you. That's fine. But what about the fact of linking with like-minded people that are going to keep you in the rut, as opposed to linking with people who are going to raise you up? If you're top of the class in a group of people, then you're leading a group of people, but they can't teach you anything else because you're leading. But if you're in a group of people with other leaders that you can gain and you can learn and grow from, surely that's better for your growth than leaning, like you said, to link with somebody maybe who's got the same fear as you. I understand that, and that's great, because you think, I'm scared, you're scared, but we're both sharing that fear together. I understand that. But how do we move forward from that? How do we then make that next step to meet somebody who isn't scared and is able to share our fear, but then take us to the next level, take us out of our comfort zone, and make us overcome that fear that we had in the first place?
Well, let me go back to that, because when I said that just because we kind of share the same fears, I didn't mean actually, you know, keep that one person in your circle. The point I was making is just about building relationships, because again we all have the strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
Now, when we talk about 2016 and we talk about, you know, the groups that you're supposed to be around. If you're trying to be great and you're trying to grow, whether it's as an entrepreneur, you always want to be around people that are better than you. You always want to be around people who are going to hold you accountable. And that's really the difference because I see a lot of people who have circles of friends, but those circles of friends are not they're not getting any better with that circle. That circle is not holding them accountable. That circle is not challenging them. The reason why it's not being such a challenge is because no one else in that circle is trying to do anything great. So if you're going to spend some time with people, you're going to invest your time with a group of people. You always want to be with a group of people that are at the top, that are striving high, that are not afraid to fall on their face. And that's the biggest thing too. You have a lot of people who are afraid to aim high because they're afraid of falling on their face.
There was something that you wrote on your Facebook page today that made me think, it made me wonder. I thought, that's good. A lot of people will start beginning of 2016, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to get into shape. And they start for the first week of membership. Then the second week, they're like, well, I can miss a day. Then by 3 weeks, 4 weeks in, I can miss a week. Don't need to take on this pain. By mid-February, they're not even going to the gym. People that start things but can't complete them. Why does this happen in 2000? Why does this happen at the beginning of each year? Why can't people follow through?
Well, it's one of those things that when we don't see results, the results that we desire at first, you get a little discouraged. And it's like that person that's trying to gain weight or lose weight. They're looking on the scale every day, and they don't see any gain. They haven't seen any weight gain. They haven't seen any weight loss. And so, as they start triggering in their minds, they start easing off of that workout program they're on, because now they're like their mindset is now, wow, I'm doing all this work, I'm doing all that running, I'm doing all those sit-ups, and I'm not losing any weight. So it's really more so about people wanting almost the overnight or the quick fix success, and that's really not how it's going to go. As far as finishing something, that it's all mindset. It's all mindset, because a lot of, like you said, a lot of people out there are starting things and they're not finishing it. And your key is, first of all, you got to go in with, once you have your goal, like everyone does at the beginning of the year, it's your job to just keep going at it, because there's no one great who got to be great or got greatness overnight. I mean, we look at, this past Monday we celebrated Martin Luther King. As powerful as Martin Luther King was, civil rights and everything did not change from one march. That was a process, and people struggle with the process. They want to speed it up. But another thing that I see that really hurts people when it comes to finishing is that they're trying to compare themselves to other people. Wow, I'm working out really hard in the gym, and I'm not losing weight. Look at that guy. Well, you don't know what that guy's been doing. You don't know what his workout program is. He may be working out twice a day. He may have been doing this for a while. So, and then also too, everyone's body is different. So there's a lot of things that you have to look at. But what I would tell someone in 2016, when it comes to finishing something right here, it comes to this right here. Do you want to leave this earth what I call unfinished business? Do you want to leave this earth where when people remember you, they say, wow, that was a great person, and he had a lot of determination when it came to starting something, but he struggled. He lost a lot of his enthusiasm when it came to finishing it. Do you want to be that person? And I had to put that post up because I just wanted people to see that being a jack of all trades is not something that has to be permanent. There's a cure for being a jack of all trades and the master of nothing, but you just have to get to the point where you get sick and tired of quitting. That's the thing. You have to get sick and tired of. Me personally, I got sick and tired of always starting a business or always starting a project and not finishing it. And not only the people let you know about it, but here's the thing too. If you keep on starting things, no matter what it is, whether it's a business, whether it's a workout program, after a while, people are not going to trust you because they're going to say they're going to expect for you to stop that workout program close to February because you did the same thing last year, you did the same thing the year before. You keep doing it. So what you got to do, like I said, you got to get sick and tired of that. You got to start evaluating your life. That's the one thing I had to do. I had to get on my knees to God. I had to start, reflecting. I had to start thinking about my potential. There's a lot of things that I had to start thinking about, and I had to ask myself, okay, what are you doing? You have this great potential, but you're not using it effectively. And if you keep on quitting every time you get in the middle of something, every time something gets hard, every time you're not getting the results, you're never gonna be great. You're never gonna achieve anything, and you're gonna leave this earth. You're gonna leave this world with unfinished business. And so it's a mindset, but it's telling yourself it's getting sick and tired of doing the same thing, and getting sick and tired of quitting and not being able to achieve your goals. That's really what it comes down to.
So your 3 top points for 2016 in changing the mindset would be?
Well, my 3 tips for 2016. One is look at your circle. That's the number one thing is evaluate your circle. There's so many people that have so much loyalty for their friends, and it's funny to me how people are willing to sacrifice success over their friendships. They're willing to allow their blessings to be hindered because they want to stay with a particular group or a particular friend. What you have to understand in 2016 is this right here. God has you at a particular place in your life, right? And the friends or group of people that you've been hanging around since 1998 or since 1990, they don't fit in anymore with you right now, because God has you at another dimension. And I'm gonna tell you, it's not worth losing the great opportunities that God has for you, because first of all, you don't know what's behind those doors. You don't know what those opportunities are, and you definitely don't want to miss out on those things because you have so much loyalty for friends. I'm gonna tell you this right here. As you start moving in this dimension that God has for you, you may lose some friends, but let me tell you this right here. Those friends will be replaced. Those friends will be replaced because this, as we talked about earlier, as far as people that are like-minded people. As you start doing great things, as you start going networking, you will find more connections. You will find another group of friends. So don't worry about losing that friend. Don't worry about what that other friend is going to have to say. If that friend truly cares about you, they'll be okay with you leaving. So that's the first thing is look at your friends. The second thing is you really need to really evaluate. The one message I'm talking about in 2016 is don't allow your pride to get in the way of your success. Again, if you have a problem, you got to admit that problem. If you struggle with procrastination, if you struggle with finishing, you got that's a problem. And the way that you fix a problem, besides admitting it, is you got to get to the root of the problem. You got to start getting on paper and figure out, okay, why am I procrastinating? Why am I always not finishing something? And the one thing I learned about procrastination, I heard somebody say this, is that the reason why people procrastinate is because they're truly not passionate about what the thing that they're trying to do, and somehow they've been doing it, but there's no passion, there's no sense of urgency there. Because if there was a sense of urgency, that project wouldn't be sitting there in the closet or wouldn't be, they'll be working on it.
Indeed.
The last tip I would tell someone out there when it comes to this new year and being great is really just trying to do something, trying to reinvent yourself, trying to do something different. We have so many people that are doing the same thing like as last year, and you got to look at it. Is what you doing last year? Is what you was doing last year? Is that good enough for 2016? Did it work? That's the main thing you got to ask yourself, because I love perseverance and persistence like the next guy, but I also believe in insanity. I also believe that insanity will keep you in the same place you've been in,
like a gerbil.
Yeah, and you have to ask yourself: is what you've been doing how is that working for you? That's the question you got to ask yourself. How is what you've been doing working for you? How is the business you've been doing? How is that working for you? How is the friendships? It's a lot of things you got to ask yourself. How's that working? So and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to try something different. Don't be afraid. Here's something extra too. Like, don't be afraid to take a step back. That's really what I want to get down to. Don't be afraid to take a step back. I know it's good to be active. A lot of people want to be active, but a lot of times the results come when you take a step back. And the reason why I say that, because when you take a step back, it allows you to get that clarity. And sometimes when you're moving around, when you're always doing this project, you're always doing this, you're always moving around, you don't have time to get clarity. You don't have time to figure things out. You don't have time to figure out, okay, this is working for me, this is not working for me. Because at the end of the day, what's gonna make us successful in business really is finding their niche. Everyone in business has a niche. And so the only way you're going to find that niche, the only way you're going to find what makes you different in the marketplace is that clarity. So don't be afraid to take some time away. Don't be afraid to take some time away from social media. Don't be afraid to take some time away from videos or whatever it is you're doing, because you're not quitting by taking a step back. What you're doing is you value yourself so much, but now you gotta kind of step back and see. You have to evaluate some things. So that's the advice that I would give anyone out there is those tips. Again, your friendships. You want to make sure that you are taking that step back in 2016, and you want to make sure you're not still continue doing the same thing. So that's what I would tell someone out there for this new year, to have a great year. Those are going to be some of the things that's going to help you to have a great year.
Well, I'm definitely going to be taking that into consideration, and the adjustments I've made already in my life. I've seen the changes already, and they're definitely helping. And
yeah, sure.
So there's some great words there from you, great words of wisdom. How do people contact you if they want to follow your progress or want to make some contact to get more advice from you or coaching?
Well, they can contact me on Facebook just type in on Facebook SHAWON. My last name is Watson, WATSON. You can also follow me on Instagram at the Setback Strategist on Instagram, and I also have a business page on Facebook, also under the Setback Strategist. Definitely connect with me. I'm very I love connecting with people. I love building relationships with people. And I forgot to mention too, one of my missions for this new year is to really help a lot more people. I really want to be more of a problem solver more than ever this year. I've even contacted some people, and I ran into some people over the last couple of days who've been reading my posts. And it's amazing how I ran into some people who've been struggling with finishing, and they really struggle with procrastination. And so I've really been reaching out to them. I've really been giving them some pointers and some tips that's really helped me along the way to break that
cycle.
to break that cycle. And also too, I forgot to mention this. I don't, I'm not telling the person what to do. I'm not sure what your spiritual or your religion is like. But what I would do if I'm in your shoes and I see myself, kind of struggling or get to a point, here in 2016, because sometimes it comes, you're doing a whole lot and you get a little tired. You get a little tired mentally and physically. You start getting a little discouraged. I would think about doing a fast. I would think about doing a fast because it allows you to get that discipline. It allows you to get the clarity, and it allows you to take a step back away from everything. It allows you to get recharged is really what it's doing. So don't be afraid to do that. And that's even for that person who you mentioned earlier, who's starting those workout plans in the beginning of the year, and they struggle to finish, or they stop working out in February. Anyone out there who is struggling with that procrastination, or you're struggling to finish, I would even recommend even joining the mastermind group. If you're a person out there, you're struggling when it comes to working out, if you're one of those people that work out in January, you stop in February, maybe get a workout partner who's at an even higher level than you as far as on the fitness level. Someone who's a little more in shape, but someone that's going to really hold you accountable. Not someone that's going to say, "Oh, don't worry about coming on Thursday. Don't worry about it." No, you want someone that's going to be almost like a boot camp, pretty much.
An accountability partner, then. An accountability partner.
Accountability partners, like I said, those go a long way, because the thing is, the things that you're trying to achieve in life, in success, it can't be done alone. Success is a team sport. It's a team sport. Can't be done by yourself. So anybody out there that's trying to do it by yourself, you're really shooting yourself in the foot, because it's going to be a point in time where you're going to get a little tired, and you need that person to say, "Come on, man, come on." Someone's like working out. Come on, you got 10 more laps to go. Come on, you need that person, because you can push yourself. But sometimes people who see greater in us can help us push beyond
what we see of ourselves.
What we see. And that's what you're going to be missing out on.
Shawon, thank you so much for talking to Baylor Worldwide Television, and we look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Well, like I said, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to connect with you. It's always a pleasure to catch up with you, and I look forward to doing other episodes with you, and God bless you.
God bless you too. Take care.